Welcome to Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973, an inspirational podcast about the ups and downs of life and everything in between. Here's your host, Shane Lakita.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk with Liquidshano. I'm here with you guys, going through everything, traveling this whole entire space of where we're at in this journey together with you side by side, going through the same things that you guys are going through as well, and just trying to be able to put one foot in front of the other to be the best version of me, to be the best version that I know of, to be able to continue to move forward in this space that we call life. And I'm here with you guys. I'm here with you in a way that can be relatable. I'm here with you guys to be able to give tips and pointers of things that's working for me, also the things that I struggle with, etc. And we're just in it together, all of us. All of you that are listening to it right now know that I haven't had an episode in just a little bit. I know we did our last episode with the Box Dad with Ben, which was a great interview. I got a lot of really great compliments about that interview. But here we are, and welcome aboard. If you're a new subscriber, this is what we do here. I get on a microphone, and I just basically journal out how I'm feeling and where I'm at with everything. And we just kind of go down the road of trying to be able to just help each other and lift each other up and encourage each other and be able to give us and afford us the ability to be able to achieve our goals and be the best version of ourselves that we can be. So if you're new here, welcome aboard. This community that we have here is a pretty special one. I have a patron community as well, which is about 20 individuals that actually donate to the show. And I've got all of the other listeners that are out there that just basically look forward to some of my podcasts, some of my audio, some of the content that I put out there on all the different social media platforms. So if you're new, welcome aboard. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for listening. If you're an old schooler and you've been around for a while, you know how this works. You know where we're at with everything. You know where we are as a team. You know where we are as a family and what we do for each other. Every day that I get on this microphone or every time that I get on this microphone, I know that people either rely on me or I, more importantly, rely on them. And all of you that are out there grinding, putting one foot in front of the other just to be the best version of yourself inspires me to continue to move forward and be in this space that I can also be the best version of myself based on the fact that you set the example of you being great at it yourself. And all the struggles that you go through helps me to also understand that it's normal to go through struggles. It's normal to go through the ups and downs of life. And sometimes we sell ourselves short as we are going through it, as we are trying to be able to navigate it. We're our own worst critics. We try to be able to continue to push forward, but a lot of times we can't, and then we feel like we just want to give up and everything else. Well, with you guys all going through that with me, side by side with me, and everything, it helps me to get to the right space and the right place to know that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to fall down and scrape your knee. It's okay to hurt your elbow or your arm or whatever else along the way in the journey as you're scraping and clawing to be able to get to wherever you have to get to. Because a lot of times we expect perfection or expect excellence, and a lot of times we can't necessarily deliver on that. And so we have to break that down into small bite-sized chunks and try to continue to move forward together in this space so we can continue to encourage each other and lift each other up. So again, if you're new here, welcome aboard. If you're an OG, old-timer, or been around for a little bit, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this show, being a part of my journey, and continuing to lift me up and encourage me to continue to move forward in a space where I need to, and I need that encouragement. I need that uplifting and that energy. So this podcast here, this episode, is going to lend well into what I was just talking about, how needing the encouragement to be able to move forward. The thing I want to start off with is this. I was having some thoughts this morning, Saturday morning. The sun was rising. I know that we're going to have maybe a rainy day tomorrow up here in New England, but today is a nice day, and it was sunny, and the sun was coming in, and I thought to myself, man, you know what? What a way to be able to set my morning off as the sun comes in and a cup of coffee. And these are some positive things that I think of. These are some positive things that are visual that I was able to see in front of me for me to be able to say to myself, okay, you know what? This is setting the tone of my day. This is setting the tone of where I want to be and what I want to do today. And if it starts off on a positive realm where we have actual sunshine in the morning and we have some really good cups of coffee where it's nice and piping hot and you add a little bit of creamer to it or whatever you like in your coffee, and you just get that moment of zen where you sit back and you're looking at the sunshine rising, or you're looking at whatever it is. You got maybe some peaceful time in your household where you've got chaos and craziness going on all the time with little ones and husbands and wives and family and everybody else. But this morning you find that peace, that moment of clarity that you may need in your life to be able to set your day off on the right foot. So there's two prongs I'm going to take this podcast. One of them is going to be the positive side of things. How positive are we being? How are we using words of positivity and using words of encouragement to be able to continue to lift ourselves and be able to bring ourselves forward where we often don't ever play in that space? Okay. And number two, how do you use it to your advantage moving forward? Okay, so this is a right here and now action item that we're talking about here on the podcast. And there's also a how can I help myself in the future and continue to be better and continue to evolve and grow and be better in general in this space that we're trying to live our lives and be the best version of ourselves. So I started off this morning with a post. I put it over on TikTok a little while ago. If you do not know, I'm on TikTok at Liquidshano, okay? And so I was over there and I recorded a video that basically had me and a cup of coffee. And I was saying to the audience that's out there, I was saying, when you woke up this morning, what were your first thoughts? Were your first thoughts, I look at myself in the mirror, I see this fat person, I see this old person, I see this person with wrinkles, I see a person that doesn't have good outfits, I see a person that's running out of clothes, I see a person that maybe gained some weight during COVID, I see a person that's disappointed in themselves, maybe we're in debt, maybe we've got student loans, maybe we got job-related issues, maybe we're not getting promoted the way we want to, and we get into this rut of just negativity and we just wallow in our sorrows so often. And it happens all the time. We do it so much to ourselves. We are literally our own worst critic. And I've said it many, many times on the podcast, so you have to change your mindset with that. But really, changing your mindset may sound like a daunting task, something huge, monumental. And it may sound like you have to reprogram the way that your brain works or reprogram who you are or go overcome that humongous mountain that you have to overcome to be able to get to where you have to get to finally maybe change your mindset that's there. It's not that hard, guys. It's pretty easy when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. But it's easier for us to fall in alignment with that whole negative landscape. It's easier for us to be able to sit back and say, life sucks. Here's the lemons that are being dealt to me. Here's the things. It's their fault. It's my job's fault. It's everybody else's fault. It's society's fault that we're all just fat and overweight. It's the way I was brought up in the family that we communicated and showed love through food or those kind of things. So it's really not my fault. Well, in all actuality, you can make specific changes to moving forward and believing in yourself by just using one or two positive actions per day in the morning to kick your day off. You guys know, you've probably seen it on many different, motivational speakers or different YouTube channels or maybe some TED Talks or whatever it is about positive affirmations and the power of our words in our journeys and how we're moving forward. And if you're using negative words, and words that maybe aren't necessarily negative, but they have a negative connotation to them. So words like I can't, or words like I won't, or words like I'll try. Now, at the end of the day, trying something is not a bad thing. But when you say I'll try, there's two different ways to say it. One of them is I'm going to try like hell to get there. Or the other way is I'll try. Basically knowing internally that you're not going to be able to achieve the goals that you want to get to. So that's kind of a slippery slope word that's there. But these words that we use, although are just regular words, they're negative words, right? And then when you're using words to describe yourself, when you're looking at yourself in the mirror or when you're looking at your journey overall and you're thinking to yourself, man, I'm sitting here trying to be able to just get through life one step at a time, do the things that I have to do. And I feel horrible of myself. I look at myself in the mirror and I see a unibrow. I see unshaven. I see somebody that needs the hair coloring. I've got a bunch of grays coming in. I got wrinkles. I don't feel good about myself. I feel like I'm just in this outlandish, crazy, spiraling, out of control circle, this vicious cycle that I'm in, that I just continue to move down this road of being my own worst critic and my own worst judge and jury. And this is where it starts. Your day starts right in the morning. And whether you realize it or not, the way that you set your tone in the morning will set the tone for the rest of your day. Whether you think it does or whether you don't think it does, it does. Because if you start off with words like I can't, or I suck, or this is brutal and I can't do this, and I'm failing, or I'm not a good dad, or I'm not a good husband, even though you are, and you're literally telling yourself these things, the rest of your day will be now in alignment with that negativity and those negative thoughts and the way that you think about yourself. It's natural. It happens all the time. It happens to me all the time. And thank goodness that I'm doing these podcasts, because I can then look at myself kind of like in a third person, and I look down on myself and I go, hey, wait a minute, what are you doing? How do you treat yourself that way? How do you get to a point where you talk to yourself so poorly, where you would never talk to anybody you love that way? You would never talk to your children that way. You would never talk to your parents that way or your grandparents that way, because you love them. So now we're getting into the place of, why do we talk that way to ourselves? What's the reason that we have such low value put on ourselves? Why are we at a place where we belittle ourselves so often internally? It may not be even an external dialogue. It may be all internal, maybe a view, an opinion, a look that you might give, or a way that you are, or how bad you might look in a photo, or whatever else. And you're your own worst critic internally, which then in turn becomes a reality, because now that's how you feel about yourself. And that's how you feel about the situation. And that's how you feel the outcome will be, based on the fact that you are now feeling like a failure no matter what. So the power of words is huge. The power of positivity is huge. The power of believing in yourself is huge. And although a lot of times some of the things that we're trying to be able to go for might be monumental or huge tasks to overcome, or things to be able to get into, if you don't ever believe in yourself that you can actually do it, you're never really going to achieve it. Let's just be honest. If you have no thought in your brain that you can actually do the things you're trying to do, like lose weight or gain money or get increase in pay, or at your job get a promotion, or whatever it is that you're trying to be able to set your mind and your heart out to do, if you don't believe in yourself, you're more often not going to succeed in that, because you have now convinced yourself, whether externally or internally, that you are going to fail, and you're not good enough, and you're not smart enough, and you're just going to continue to go down this road of life because that's what you've always believed. Where one word or one action or one positive type of thing can change your whole entire mindset, just if you put it into action and into place first thing in the morning when you first wake up. And let me tell you something. I believe it takes work to do so. I say it's easy to do so because you can easily just say a word of positivity. You can easily just say a word of whatever. But if you start to actually believe in it, you start to work at it, you start to then think to yourself, well, you know what? I might not have accomplished my goals yesterday, but guess what? I worked like hell. I worked my ass off trying to get there. And now I've already set the tone that I can actually try to be able to be successful. And I can actually move forward in a space where I feel like I'm in a pretty good place to be able to continue moving forward and be successful in that space. So it takes work, it takes energy, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes fortitude, it takes mental acuity, it takes all these things that you got to put into play to change your mindset from a negative mindset to a positive mindset. Is it easy? No, it's not. Like I said earlier, it's so much easier to play in the negative space. Now, again, we'll talk about it. Why are we so hard on ourselves? And why does it take all that work and effort to be able to turn it around? Well, there's many different reasons, I believe, and this is just my opinion, a guy that's sitting back and likes to drink beer and likes to do his own things. But here's my opinions. I believe we are patterned the way that we are based on the way we are brought up and the environment that we've grown up in. When you're looking at magazines and you're looking at TV shows and you're looking at movies, what do you see? You see these people that have six-pack abs, that have beautiful bodies, like literally model-esque all the time. And this is all our children see as we're growing up. Across the board, Barbie dolls and Ken dolls and all these different opinions or images that we see that is literally, supposedly, quote unquote, the way it's supposed to be. The way that a body is supposed to be. When many of you know, if you ever put a Barbie doll into proportions of a normal human being, it'd be like an Amazon crazy woman, right? But here's the thing. That's our image. That's what we've been trained to see. That's what we've been patterned to. How about athletes? Athletes that we look up to. People that we know are the cream of the crop, the best of the best, that work their ass off to get to where they are. But we don't really necessarily put that into play. We just put it into the fact that they're champions. They're amazing. They're athletic. They're so in shape. And all these things. And so we have all these high expectations of the things that we feel that we should be. Now, am I a person that's going to tell you that you can't achieve those things? No, I'm never going to say that because I think you can achieve whatever you set your mind to. But being in the realistic space that we are in, the amount of work and fortitude that it takes athletes, models, all these people to do the things that they have to do, to work at their craft and fight and scrape and claw to get to the places that they have to get to. It's not just so easy you can just bat your eyelashes and do it. I've seen a lot of people that look beautiful, but are the worst actors and worst speakers in the whole entire world. So it's a craft that they put a lot of work into, and we tend to forget that on the first hand, right? On the second hand, we are setting ourselves up for absolutely unrealistic expectations if we think that Barbie dolls and Ken dolls and all these people that are athletic prowesses and these people that are out there doing the things that they have to do, these prime athletes that are out there grinding, if you think that's going to be you have now set yourself up for failure. Why? Because those athletes and those top shelf people that are in the top of the rung of acting and modeling and sports and corporate world and all this different stuff, they're all the cream of the crop. That's the top 5%. These are the people that are chosen amongst many others when all the rest of us are going to be pretty much either lying right in the middle or fighting to get there, but we'll never be able to be a professional athlete. And in light of the fact that the Olympics started yesterday, there's more prime athletes. These people are rock solid prima donnas. The swimmers are like 25 feet tall, and the gymnasts are people that flip around 7,000 times in the air. Do you think we could ever do that? These are prime athletes, but we look at them and we admire them and we want to be like them and we want to win like them. We want gold and we want all these different things. We set ourselves up when we set our goals that are well beyond the realm of being a SMART goal. Because let's just be honest. What's the acronym of SMART goal? Specific, measurable, attainable, M&A. Measurable, absolutely. We can measure anything we want to be able to get to. But attainable? Is an attainable goal the fact that I want to be like Simone Biles and I want to be able to win gold and be the GOAT of the gymnastics world and be able to do 7,000 flips in the air and land it like stick the landing like nobody's business? Is that a realistic goal that I'm setting for myself, an attainable, realistic goal for me as a almost 300-pound man that's literally sitting back going, here's my expectations of myself? So my point is this. We often set higher goals, lofty goals and aspirations, much more than what we are actually capable of doing. Now, like I said, could you do it if you put in the work? Yes, anybody could. Would you have to fall into that whole 5% of the top of the population to be able to do so? Yeah, you would. But it takes work and energy and time and start young and really work your way up and continue to find a lifelong passion and go through all the downs and the ups and all the stuff that they have to go through as they're trying to work their way up to where they have to be. But I'm not going to set an unrealistic expectation for myself to help me to understand that I'm not a gymnast. I'm not Simone Biles. I'm Shane Lakita. I'm a guy who's a dad and a husband that's just trying to fight every single day to be the best dad, to be the best husband, and to be the best son that he can be. That's what I do every day. That's my goal. That's what I try to fight. But that's attainable. That's realistic. These are parts of setting smart goals and goals for yourself to know that this is something that I can achieve. It's not something that is unachievable or like Mount St. Helens that's so huge that you got to try to be able to overcome so much adversity to get to where you have to get to. I'm giving myself specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-sensitive goals that I can sit back and say, I can achieve these things. It's going to take work. It's going to take energy and time, but that's okay. They're achievable. They're realistic. I'm setting realistic expectations. So to go back to what I was originally saying a moment ago, where we set ourselves up for failure all of our lives as kids, as we're growing up and we're looking at all these prima donnas and actors and actresses and athletes and all this stuff, and we're growing up to say, that's what a perfect body looks like, or that's what a perfect person looks like. They're amazing. They're famous. They got money. They got loot. They got whatever else. And we're just peons. We're just middle of the roaders. We're middle income America. We're just people that are trying to be able to come with there, if not lower class America. And we're looking at these unrealistic expectations. And so then that is when the negativity starts. That's when we start to say to ourselves, I could never be there, so why the hell even try? Or I could never be at the top of my game like they are, so why even give the effort to even try anything? Then we start to doubt ourselves. Then we start to badmouth ourselves. And then we start to become our own worst critic again. And then we start to really look at the expectations that we've set on ourselves. And we've set them so high that when we do fail, then we crash and burn, which is sad to me. It is. All of us do it. We have all gotten to a point where we have crashed and burned after we have set realistic or unrealistic expectations, or after we have set lofty goals to where we had to be, and then we failed, and then we crashed and we burned. And until we go through a few of those moments where we are then learning from our mistakes and learning from the things that we have to do, until you get to a point where you can say, okay, I need to right size what my expectations are of me and who I want to be and who I want to become and how I want to live and the example I want to set, until I can right-size those things to who I am as a person and know that I'm different than anybody else. I'm not trying to be just like top-tier number across the board and to group myself into this group of people that I would never be able to obtain or be able to get a part of, but instead I want to celebrate in me. I want to know me. I want to know who I am, the dynamic that I live, the landscape that I have set for myself, the person that I've become in my life. So I need to celebrate in what I do well, on how I am a dad and how I am a husband and a son and uncle and all these things. I need to park in that space for just a moment and start to celebrate in who I am and what I've done. Even if who I am and what I've done, I'm not really extremely proud of. There are things in my life that I can pull out and extrapolate and be able to lay out and say to myself, this is what I'm proud of. Even if you go down to the basic fundamentals of just being kind or giving people hugs or having a great personality or doing the things that are necessary or volunteering or giving back or whatever else that you've done in your life that you should be proud of. There are moments that every single one of us have. And I know you've got them, even if you're feeling low in the barrel right now. You've got those moments where you can sit back and you can say to yourself, I'm proud of this. So this is one of the things that I need to set on the tone of my day to say, this is the things that I'm most proud of. One of the things I always say when you first wake up is plant your feet on the ground and ground yourself in the fact that I'm thankful that I'm waking up another day. I'm thankful that I got a good night's sleep. I'm thankful that I have a spouse. I'm thankful that I have kids. I'm thankful. All the things that you're thankful for directly first thing in the morning to change some of those negative thoughts around to a positive realm should be easy to do. Because every single one of us have something we can be thankful for. Don't you? I would hope so. I would hope that you have something you could be thankful for in your life. And so every morning that you get up and you start thinking to yourself, what am I thankful for? Here's the second piece that I was talking about earlier. How can we learn from it and move forward from it? Start taking notes. Start writing down the things that you are most thankful for. Start writing down the words that are actually positive in your life, that you have found, that you have, even if it took work for you to do, even if it took you a grind and you're going against the grain of how you really truly feel at that moment in time. If you find a positive word or a positive influence or something that you've done that you're proud of, you should write that down. You start literally keeping this book of positive words for yourself. And then you can take that book and you can refer to that book from this point forward. You can use the book as a learning, so that way on those days where it's really difficult for you to be able to find something positive about yourself, because we're all going to have them. We all have those days. You can tap into that book, open it up and say, hey, on this day I felt this way about myself. How come? Wow, that's really cool. Oh, hey, you know what? I was really successful this day with this. Maybe I should be able to incorporate some of that today. So it doesn't take work and grind every single day for you to be able to find something. Now you're starting to build your book. You're starting to build the chapters of who you are. You're starting to mold your whole attitude into who the person that you want to become just by focusing on one or two things every single morning. That's what I meant by it's not that difficult. It's difficult because it takes work and it goes against the grain of going the easy route of being a negative person or being a negative opinion of yourself or be a negative whatever, right? That's the part that takes a lot of work and dedication and time and patience and all that stuff. But it should be easy for you to be able to find one or two things every single day that we have done that you should be proud of. Something that you've done somewhere, somehow, that you should be proud of, that you've done for other people, you've done for yourself, you've done for family, you've done for whatever, for society, for whatever it is, you should be proud of something that you've done today, and you should write that down to make sure that you can tap into that moving forward. Now, here's the other part that I want to cover with you, because it's on my mind, and I can hear certain people in my ear talking to me about toxic positivity. Now, if you don't know what toxic positivity is, it's almost like stepping away from being in the world of being a realist, right? And being super positive and super sugary and super sweet all the time, of being able to move through situations that require grief, require pain, require some suffering, require skinning your knee or scraping your elbow or whatever it is. We get into this space of toxic positivity where everything is great, everything's honky-dory, everything's wonderful and amazing, and all those things, with taking away some of that realistic side of life in general. So that is not what I'm saying to become, right? Because I know that every single morning that you wake up, not every one of them are going to be unicorns and rainbows. Most mornings that you wake up, you're going to have some stuff that's on your mind. You're going to be stressed out about some certain things. Maybe there's bills in the works. Maybe there's medical issues. Maybe you lose your job. Maybe whatever else that's going on in your life. There's always going to be something that's going to try to bog you down. So toxic positivity would be like, that's okay. We're all good to go. But a realistic positivity is somebody that sits back and goes, you know what? Life sucks sometimes. And now I've got to start to work on myself one step at a time to continue to move forward. And every time that I make this action, that I wake up in the morning and I grab one or two positive things in my life, things that I'm proud of or things that I know that I can move forward with and I can use as a cornerstone or a stepping stone for me to be able to continue moving forward, I'm in a good spot. And the more that I do that every day when I wake up, the more it's going to become a habit. And so instead of waking up and telling yourself you're fat or you're gross or you got wrinkles or you're getting old or whatever else, you're going to then start waking up naturally without even working at it to say, you know what, I'm pretty proud of the way that I did this yesterday. Or I'm pretty proud of the fact that I got 8 hours of sleep last night. Or maybe I'm really, really proud of the fact that I'm just sitting here having a cup of coffee with this nice premium blend of coffee that I have. At the end of the day, everything's working really well. I'm good to go, and I'm in a different mindset than where it's at. I know that stuff will happen during the day, and I know I will get curveballs thrown at me left and right. But this is going to help me prepare myself to know that I can be successful, that I know that I can bounce and bob and weave and do everything I've got to do to mold to the situation to make sure that I can continue to move forward and be the best version of me rather than sliding down that slippery slope of negativity, toxicity, and being in the place where you give up on yourself and continue to move forward. Now, all this comes with all the different data points and all the stats that you can hear that are out there around suicides, around mental health, especially coming off of COVID, where people have been boxed up and boxed in. Violent crimes are up, gun shootings are up. All this different stuff is going on. So it's just a really negative space to be in. So really, I can't worry about all that. I can only worry about me. And I can only worry about making sure that I give myself the right tools for me to be able to move forward where I'm not going down the road as many others have with suicide or harming themselves or making very bad decisions in your life just based on the fact that you don't know what to do and you've slid down that road. Does that make sense? So here's the thing. Tomorrow morning when you wake up first thing, I want you to take a temperature gauge. I want you to see, how do I feel about myself? How am I feeling about everything that's going on? How do I feel about just in general, me as a person, where I'm at, my goals, the things I'm trying to go to, and what am I most proud of? And start to really lean in on the activity as we're talking about here on this podcast to make sure you get yourself to the right place in the right frame of mind to know that, listen, I know stuff happens and I get all that. But at the end of the day, you're still a good person. You deserve greatness. You deserve to achieve goals and aspirations and dreams and all that stuff. Stop not believing in that. Stop not giving yourself credit for the things that you do and start to believe in you and the reason why you're here and the things that you're fighting for every single day. Because I know you can do it. I believe in you. You should too. You should believe in the things that you're doing and the way that you are fighting like hell every single day to become great or do the things that you have to do.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Please do us a favor and leave feedback and a 5-star rating on whatever platform that you use.